But when Ethan turned to leave, when he said, "I'm done, David. I'm telling them tomorrow," something inside David broke. There was a handgun in the desk drawer, one David kept for security after a break-in years earlier. He'd never fired it outside of a shooting range. But that night, his hand reached for it almost on instinct. Ethan saw the movement and froze. For a moment, they just stared at each other. And then David pulled the trigger. The sound echoed through the empty church like a thunderclap. Ethan collapsed immediately, blood spreading across the concrete floor. David stood there, the gun still in his hand, his mind unable to process what he'd just done. He dropped to his knees beside Ethan, pressing his hands against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding, whispering apologies and prayers. But it was too late. Ethan was gone. David sat there for what felt like hours, though it was probably only minutes. He didn't try to run. He didn't try to hide the evidence. He just knelt there, covered in blood, reciting Psalm 23 over and over again. Eventually, he picked up his phone and dialed 911. When the dispatcher answered, his voice was hollow. He said, "There's been an accident at Grace Community Baptist Church. I need help." The police arrived within minutes. They found David exactly where he'd been when he made the call, still kneeling, still praying. He didn't resist when they handcuffed him. He didn't ask for a lawyer. He just kept repeating, "God will forgive me. God will forgive me." The news spread through Montgomery like wildfire. By sunrise, the church parking lot was filled with reporters, police cars, and devastated congregation members trying to make sense of what had happened. Rebecca Langston was brought in for questioning. She was in complete shock, insisting there had to be some mistake. Her husband was a good man. He would never hurt anyone. But as detectives started going through David's phone, through his messages with Ethan, the picture became painfully clear. This wasn't a random act of violence. This was a crime of desperation, born from fear and shame. The community was divided. Some people refused to believe David was capable of murder. They clung to the image of the man they'd known for years, the man who'd baptized their children and officiated their weddings. Others felt betrayed, not just by the crime itself, but by the double life David had been living. How could a man preach about morality and truth while hiding something so fundamental about himself? The investigation moved quickly. Detectives recovered security footage from a camera outside the church that showed both David and Ethan